It's so cold here. It is like 5 degrees outside, and my dorm has barely any heat going through. So I thought today would be a great day to wrap up in a blanket, sip some water because we are hydro homies on this channel, and make a tier list of the best Star Wars games of all time. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be pretty sick. This list I got from tiermaker.com. It has pretty much all of the Star Wars games that I would consider putting on a tier list. I mean, there's some left out of this, but I don't think they're that notable. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. I haven't played all of these. I have played the vast majority of these. For those that I haven't played, I'm just gonna put into the question mark pile, which I think seems fair. So you guys let me know what your top 5 favorite Star Wars games are. Actually, you know what? Let's do a poll. I'll make a poll, and I'll include all of the Star Wars games in this list, and if I forgot any, let me know, and I can add it to the poll, and I'll toss that in the description, and you guys can vote that way. So, without further ado, let's get into this thing. So, starting with Star Wars Starfighter Special Edition. We're starting with one I have never played, so we're putting that in the question mark pile. Very epic. Star Wars Obi-Wan is next. I have played like an hour of this max, and I was like 10 years old at a friend's house. I think I played it on their PlayStation 2, in all honesty. So I remember it, and I remember having fun with it. And that is, of course, key. But beyond that, I can't say I ever was like, oh, I gotta play that game again. There are games like that on this where I remember it so distinctly, I'm like, that's so nostalgic, even though I only played it for a little while. But this one didn't seem too memorable. I don't think it's really anyone's favorite in the community, so I'm gonna toss it at a solid C rating. C is like middle ground. It's not amazing, it's not bad, it's just okay. It's middle of the line. That's what I'm putting C's as. Let's see here. We have Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. Another game I've never played. Putting in there. Oh, this was the special edition. I think this was the standard edition. There's 2 of the same in here. Okay. Next up, Star Wars Jedi Outcast Jedi Knight. I played a lot of the Jedi Knight series. Mainly I played Jedi Academy, but I played a little bit of Outcast, and I remember having fun with it, and I remember it being a pretty swell game, but it wasn't as captivating as Academy. I'm gonna put it in B because I think that's a good game, you know? Nothing phenomenal from what I remember, but it was good. Star Wars The Clone Wars, another game for the PlayStation 2 I played minimally. I played a little bit of it when I was very young, probably right around the same time as Obi-Wan. I think it was bundled with Tetris on the Xbox, wasn't it? I feel like for some reason this game was bundled with Tetris. I might be wrong, but I'm fairly confident in that. I'm gonna give this one a B. I remember having a good time playing as this. Attack of the Clones used to be like one of my favorite movies, and my reasoning for that was that the clones were introduced. Beyond that, the movie is kind of okay. But, you know, I feel very nostalgic about this game just because I wanted it to be so good. And I think it was okay. I do think it was a good game, but I don't think it was as good as I wanted it to be. Now we're getting into ones where I am confident I know them and love them. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Oh, this game slapped, boys. Played it a lot on the Xbox, actually. And I'm just giving it an A tier. A tier. It's not quite S tier. I'm reserving S tier for those games that I just hold so sacred to me. But it is a great game. I bet a lot of people put this in S tier, and all due respect to them. Like, I don't blame you. That game could very well be an S tier game for you, but it just wasn't for me because I didn't play it as much as some of these others, but I did play a good amount and I remember loving it. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. That's S tier for me. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, I played hours of. I had it for Mac, actually. My family used to have this old clunky MacBook in our family room, and I remember sitting there and playing just hours and hours of Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. I remember you got to meet Luke Skywalker in the first, like, 20 minutes of the game. You became one of his Padawans, or you became one of his friends' Padawans, but, like, he was involved in the game a little bit, but he was doing, like, higher-up Jedi things, and slowly, as you progress through the levels and you gain more experience, you get to be, you know, introduced to those things a little bit more and more. Had amazing progression, really fun stories. I loved the leveling system. It wasn't just a straightforward story. You got to pick which levels you wanted to play, and then you sort of progressed another tier up after you finished those levels. That game was baller. I loved that game. Now we're coming into Star Wars Battlefront. Oh boy, the rankings for these are probably all going to be high except for one, and you guys probably know my opinions on that one if you've watched the channel for a while. Star Wars Battlefront, the original one, also had it for my Mac. This was the Star Wars Battlefront I played the most as a kid, because I didn't have Star Wars Battlefront 2 for a long while after it came out, because my family just thought I didn't need the sequel, which, you know, fair to them. But they're not gamers. They don't understand the need to game. But regardless, Star Wars Battlefront, I played hundreds of hours of this. And I can't put it S tier. I can't put it S tier, and that's because, well, let's do it right now. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the 2005 edition, we're putting it S tier. Star Wars Battlefront, even though I got hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay out of that, and I loved every minute of it, I know in the back of my mind it is not better than its sequel. Its sequel is dominant in this reign. Star Wars Battlefront 2 took everything that made Star Wars Battlefront amazing and doubled it. It made it 2 times better. It introduced 2 times as many awesome things that you could do in the game. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is the pinnacle. It is so unbelievably good. So Star Wars Battlefront 2, I have had a lot of time to catch up on it. I've been playing a ton of it on this channel. I also played it on my friends' PS2s a lot, and as of late, I've been getting really, really into it. And throughout my childhood, I did play it. I just didn't own it for like 2 or 3 years after it came out. But when I did get my hands on it, I played the crud out of it. I probably don't have as many hours in it as Star Wars Battlefront still, but I just know it's the better game, so I have to put it S tier, and I have to put Star Wars Battlefront in A tier. You know. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. I've heard people say this one is better than Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I honestly haven't played too much of it. I goofed around in it a little bit, but didn't get to play a ton of it. And I don't want to do it any disservice by ranking it when I haven't had enough experience, especially when people say it's S tier worthy. So I'm going to put it in the question mark. I played more Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic than I did Knights of the Old Republic 2. I got to put it in the question mark. Let me know where you guys think it belongs. Oh, baby. Star Wars Republic Commando. S tier. It's going in S tier. S tier is sacred, and that should show just how many amazing Star Wars games this is. Star Wars Republic Commando slapped. You got to play as Delta Squad fighting through the back lines of the war. I really got to do a Let's Play of Star Wars Republic Commando on DaleyTactics soon. It's so fun. It's such a fun game. Genuinely an amazing game. It's got to be S tier. It just has to be. Lego Star Wars, the video game. I owned the Game Boy version of this, and later in life I did have the GameCube version of this, but I preliminarily played it on Game Boy. And I remember it being great on Game Boy, and I got a ton of hours on it, and I had a bunch of fun with it. But I'm gonna put it in, I don't know, it's got that nostalgic factor to me, but I know there are better Lego Star Wars games than this one, so I don't quite want to put it in A tier, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. because I want to reserve these top slots for really the pinnacle of gaming. And I remember having a great time doing this game, and I think I beat it. But I know there are better games. I know there are. Did I have it for DS or Game Boy? I think it was Game Boy, because I remember you could do the Konami code in it. You could definitely do the Konami code in it, and I think I distinctly remember doing it on the Game Boy. Sorry, my memory's a little Oh boy, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. This is an A tier game. It's not quite S tier. I actually have a funny story about this. So, this was one of those games, along with Star Wars Obi-Wan, that I played on my friend's Xbox or PS2. This was the one where I remember going, that was so unbelievably fun. Getting to fight as Obi-Wan, you know, alongside clone troopers on Utapau, slicing and dicing, just having an absolute blast with it. I remember just being enthralled by it, and I wanted to play it more. So I looked it up. I looked up everything I could, you know, every instance of the game I could find, and there was one platform that I owned that this game was on, and that was Nintendo DS. So I went out and I bought, well, first of all, me and my dad's an absolute trooper. We went to like 3 different GameStops until we finally found one that had it. And I bought it, and I took it home, and it sucked. The DS version of this game sucked. And that night, he brought me back and we returned it, and instead I got that Army Men game for the DS, which was infinitely better. So, love you, Dad. Thank you so much for doing that for me. But then, a few years later, I finally got my hands on the Xbox version of this, and I played through most of it, and I had a blast. It's a really fun game. Just not the DS version, not the handheld version. But Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith is a phenomenal game. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Graphics, I don't think hold up too well nowadays, but I think it's still pretty good. Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. I'm going to put this in B tier as well, right alongside Lego Star Wars, the video game. I remember playing, I think I beat most of the Lego Star Wars games that came out when I was a kid. And I had fun with it. You know, I can't lie. It was definitely a fun game, but I don't think it was anything too special. You know, all the Lego Star Wars games are fantastic, so I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't think it's S or A tier worthy. I think it's a solid B tier. Now, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. That is A tier worthy. It basically doubled the content that we received. It refined the graphics. I believe I had this for the Nintendo Wii, I think is the console I had it for. It was just the next-gen version of the Lego Star Wars, and it combined everything to make a more polished and fun playing experience. Had a ton of unlockables, if I remember. Me and my friends were competing to unlock all of the characters. Had a bunch of little mini-game levels, too, like scattered throughout the cantina and stuff. That game slapped. That is an A-tier game. Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Another game I had for the Wii, though I think the Xbox 360 game was better, but I just didn't own that. This game is probably S tier. I remember loving the story. I remember loving the graphics for the time, because this was like the best Star Wars game graphics that we'd ever seen at this point, and even now they're dated. But for the time, like, this was amazing. It was a great game. Phenomenal. I think I played through the whole thing. Star Killer was dope. Just a great game. Just an S tier game. An S tier game. Star Wars The Clone Wars Republic Heroes. A game I only played a few levels of. And I don't think it was very good. I remember only playing a few levels of it at a friend's house or something like that. And I remember not liking it very much. I thought the graphics were kind of bad. The gameplay kind of sucked. So I'm going to put it in D tier. Haven't played a lot, played maybe an hour of it probably, but I remember just not liking it that much. Though if it is a good game and I should revisit it, please let me know, because I do actually own it from the Star Wars Steam bundle, so I could always go back and play it again with you guys on the channel. If it is good, but I don't remember it being that good. I gotta put it in D tier, just from memory. Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2! I remember by this time, when this came out, Um, I think I was just playing a lot more like COD games and stuff like that at this point. And I don't know, I might have been in that phase where I just sort of thought Star Wars was a little bit more kiddie or something like that, which I was totally wrong about, but that only lasted 2 or 3 years probably, in my angsty teen years or whatever. But I did play a few levels of it for sure. And I remember the most notable thing was being wowed by the gameplay where you were like just diving down. Like you were falling through these like rings of platforms. I think it was on Commando. And then, watching you drop into like stormtroopers and start slicing and dicing them up. That was a big impact on me as a child. I remember thinking that was so cool. But I'm going to put it in B tier. I'm going to put it in B tier because I didn't play a ton of it. And I remember really thinking it was cool, but not as cool as the first one. And I don't think I was as invested in it, and maybe that has something to do with it. But, I think it's B tier worthy. I think it is B tier worthy. Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. Actually, been playing this on the channel. We're a ton of episodes in. I actually recorded a recent episode, the finale episode, I think. It's unclear if there's more levels after this, but the credits did roll, and I don't know if that will be released before or after this video comes out. But regardless, I had a lot of fun with this game. I like that it was all Clone Wars content, which is cool. But simultaneously, it just wasn't my favorite Lego Star Wars game. All the levels felt very repetitive. I didn't like a lot of the mechanics. I think I gotta put it in B tier. I don't think it's quite the complete saga level, and it's certainly not above the first two. So I think I gotta put it in B tier. Okay, we are getting into some modern games here. Star Wars Battlefront. This is going in F. I hate this game. And I actually recently recorded a rant video of me going on about this game. You should watch that if you don't understand why I hate it. But the game was not worth $60. It was filled with bugs. It's completely dead now because no one liked it. The game sucks. I hate this game. That game is F tier. I hate that game. Star Wars Battlefront 2, though. Ooh, it started off with a rocky start, but the core gameplay was always fun, and the recent updates have seriously improved the game to the point where I really enjoy playing it. I've been live streaming it for many months. Gotta go A tier with Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think the rocky start keeps it from being S tier with EA's loot box greed and things like that. It sort of tarnishes its reputation a little bit, but the recovery was so nice. The recovery was amazing, and it still has its problems, that's for sure. But the content drops and things like that, keeping it in A tier. That game slaps, and I will continue playing it for many moons to come. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order actually comes out tonight. It is the 14th when I am recording this. I'm recording a bunch of videos ahead of Thanksgiving so I can go home without worrying about recording. Comes out tonight. Plan on recording it in 2.5 hours. So the early gameplay looks awesome, and I'm hoping to add another game to S tier or A tier, but right now it's fallen in the question mark tier because I am not too sure. Not too sure. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I don't think this game is even out yet. Question mark. I've never played it for sure, but I don't think it's out. Dark Forces. I think I played like a little bit of this on PC when I bought the Star Wars bundle, but not enough to actually like vote. This Jedi Knight game, I never played this one. I don't even know what it's called. I only played Outcast and Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, so gotta toss that into question mark 1. And then finally, The Force Awakens, also never played that one. So, I ended up putting 8 games in the question mark, and I think 2 of them are fair because I'm pretty sure those 2 have not come out yet. so how am I supposed to vote on them? That would just be lying. A couple of them could potentially be A tier. Like, I know the Jedi Knight games are absolute bangers from the other two I've played, but it could be A or S tier, just have never played it. This one is likely S tier considering the hype around it, but I don't know. So yeah, these two never played. Don't really care to play. Starfighter game, eh. Dark Forces, I think I played, don't remember it that well. Gotta put it in there. So that is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think of it, because I would love to know. I think we can actually go into, yeah, we can see the community rank, what other people have ranked this as. So let's see what we got here. Okay, the Complete Saga got put into S tier. That was my favorite LEGO game, but it only made it to A tier for mine. Star Wars Battlefront 2, that makes sense. Yep, Knights of the Old Republic 2 made it into S tier, like I sort of thought. They put the original Star Wars Battlefront in there as well, and I think that's fair. I think that's a fair thing. Knights of the Old Republic, that's fair. Going into A tier, I think most of these are fair. I kind of get it, like why you would put some of these in here. Maybe nostalgia factor got to me for some of these, but that's okay. Force Unleashed, yeah, that's fair. Jedi Academy, bruh. I think it should be S tier. Republic Commando, I also think should be S tier. Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcasts, good game. Lego Star Wars 2 was in there too. B tier is Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think that at least deserves A tier. Lego Star Wars 3, that makes sense. Force Unleashed 2, B tier, okay. Dark Forces, alright, so if someone thinks it's B tier worthy. C tier, Star Wars Battlefront 2, no, or sorry, the 2015 one. That deserves F tier. This one is the Force Awakens Lego game, C tier, okay. So apparently that one wasn't very good. Jedi Knight, yeah, the one I didn't know about, C tier, okay. So I probably won't end up playing that. Obi-Wan, C tier. Republic Heroes, I was not the only one who thought it was not that great. D tier. The Clone Wars, I guess, got D tier, okay. And Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, D tier as well. Lots of these games I played so long ago when I was a kid that I feel like maybe my memory is tarnished by nostalgia and whatnot, but I'm gonna stick by my list for now. Let me know what you think, because you know, that's half the fun of this, is understanding what you guys think of the game. The games, plural. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.